thank you very much. After your thrilling game, we're here in Washington, D.C. for St. Joseph's, the 4th seed against the number 1 seed, the Rhode Island Rams. Along with Jim Spanarkel and Allie LaForce, I'm Tom McCarthy. It is a pleasure to be with you. So far, not a whole lot going on. Just 2-0 St. Joseph's in the early going.
Yeah, St. Joseph's now switched the first possession man-to-man, now a 2-3 zone.
Stanford Robinson's three is no good. Funk with the rebound. Phil Martelli told us earlier today that he may even pull back and let them shoot the three. He just doesn't want Rhode Island to penetrate.
Yeah, exactly. Force them to shoot the ball from the outside, and if they don't get that going, there'll be a game.
Shavar Newkirk. Here's Funk for three, and it's good. It rims around and goes down.
Yeah, Phil also said about Funk, he doesn't have a problem if he's shooting it from long range. Take his shots. That's going to open up the middle of the floor at the offensive end for St. Joe's.
Well, he has 5 points already in the early going. Terrell to a cutting Robinson. E.C. Matthews can hit that shot and does.
Nice little skip. Use both sides of the floor. You'll get some action against that 2-3 zone.
That two-headed monster of E.C. Matthews and Jared Terrell has been so special this year. They lost their third member of their crew, Hassan Martin, to graduation from last year. Clover, tough shot, rebound by Berry.
Yeah, good drive to the basket, only 3 of 11 yesterday, so he had good opportunities, just couldn't get the ball to go down.
Yeah, he did not score in the first half of yesterday's game, did so in the second half. Boy, Berry has such a soft touch from the free throw line.
Yeah, it becomes a real factor for a team that likes to slash to the basket.
Andre Berry doesn't average the most minutes for the big men for Rhode Island, but he does have an impact. As Shavar Newkirk flexing his muscles going through the lane.
Yeah, you notice that Berry was not a factor defensively just then because of Longpre outside looking for his shot.
Here's Doubt, the point guard for Rhode Island. Now back to E.C. Matthews. You see the 2-3 zone for St. Joseph's.
And now it looks like a 3-2 from time to time. So go figure that one out.
Yeah, we'll try to explain it as best we can. And Robinson's pullback jumper is no good.
The key is to be able to rebound out of it from the misses that it provokes Rhode Island into taking a little quicker shot than they want. They don't probe it enough.
And meanwhile, Rhode Island defensively will mostly be man-to-man the whole game. Is Longpre with the three. And it's a 10-5 St. Joseph's lead.
2 for 3 yesterday, so he's in the flow. He steps into it sometimes in an odd manner. It's almost like a walk-in three-point shot, but it's effective.
Terrell, second three attempt of the day. This one's good. What did Phil Martelli tell us today? If they make 11 threes like they did yesterday, we're going to be heading back to Philadelphia.
Yeah, Terrell's not coming off a great shooting game yesterday either, so it's interesting from Rhode Island's perspective to see him get off very quickly.
15:45 to play first half. 10-8 St. Joseph's. Longpre, tough running shot, banks it home. I'm not sure if that's the way they drew it up.
I'm not either, but did you notice all the spin on that shot? And the further away from the basket and the further left you take it, you better make sure it's spinning a lot.
E.C. Matthews tries for his second three. Nice rebound by Terrell. Shot blocked on the putback, and it rolls toward the baseline and stolen by Funk.
Good kick up here.
Newkirk going right to the basket. Doesn't get it to go down, but Longpre's putback is just off the rim.
2-on-1 if they hurry.
Down to E.C. Matthews.
Good action, but nobody finished.
Really good action.
Yeah, nobody's back for Rhode Island except one guy.
Newkirk for three. Wow. And an air ball. I don't know if that was hit or if he just flat out missed it.
Terrell was there. I would guess that he probably touched it in that deep right corner just because he was so off with that shot. Little power game here.
Berry fadeaway jumper. He does have good touch, though, doesn't he?
Gets the body in there. He powers you to begin with, and then you're absolutely right, Tom. It's that feathery, soft touch right around the rim, 5-6 feet away.
The games I've done this year, Rhode Island, I think he's had a drastic impact, particularly in the first half, as Terrell is called for the foul. For those of you watching on CBSSports.com, our streaming coverage will conclude after the commercial break, but we will continue on CBS Sports Network. You can find us by going to CBSSportsNetwork.com/channel finder. Bracket Week is presented by Kubota. We're in Washington, D.C. for the Atlantic 10 semifinals. It's the first of 2 games, along with Jim Spinarco and Ali LaForce. We'll have both of these, St. Bonaventure and Davidson, coming up in just a little bit. We'll talk about a rematch of St. Bonaventure and Davidson in a little bit. But how about the rematch between Rhode Island and St. Joseph's? St. Joseph's really punched Rhode Island in the nose earlier this year.
Little distraction from the Rhode Island standpoint, but it was important for St. Joe's to come out as they have in this game and really go after it. And if they're going to continue to play well, they're going to need Demery to really play well for them in terms of his slashes to the basket, making things happen. He gets his 17 points a game. Here's another guy, Newkirk, I think is very, very important for scoring, but also for lack of turnovers. He's got to cut down on the turnovers, and no decisions can be bad.
All right, meanwhile for Rhode Island, Dan Hurley calls E.C. Matthews and Jared Terrell Batman and Batman. He can't decide who's his superhero.
No, and you look at the numbers, they're very good. They're 2 seniors, just like the previous 2 guys we've spoken about, so experienced players. But when you really look at these 2 guys as they score, you got to think about Danny Hurley and the presence that he has on the sideline in terms of getting his team ready, getting them ready to play aggressive basketball, especially at the defensive end of the floor.
Dan Hurley in his 6th season, 111 wins. He's done a fantastic job with the Rams. They went to the NCAA tournament last year. Demery, by the way, has checked in for St. Joseph's. Meanwhile, Cyril Langevin has checked in for Rhode Island. And a foul on Langevin as Phil Martelli in his 23rd year, 430 wins. Had grandchild number 8 earlier this week.
Congrats to everybody.
Oh, yeah. And what did he tell us earlier today? He said, you know, I want to make sure we make a statement early in this game so people realize, I mean, we're not lucky to be here.
No, and the concern of making sure that they don't go down in a hurry as they get some good action in the paint. And they're playing. I think they've made the early statement, up 14-10 right now.
Yeah, they have more points in the paint than Rhode Island. It's not a shocking number because Rhode Island this year is more built to go outside, whereas last year they were inside. Here's Doughton for 3. It's good. That's a sweet stroke from Jeff Doughton, and it's a 1-point game.
Well, we just spoken a little bit about Batman and Batman, but you better make sure Doughton doesn't get going. 18 points yesterday. He was 7 of 10 from the floor, and I thought he played as comfortable a game of basketball as he could.
Shabar Newkirk is fouled, so count the bucket, and he'll go to the free throw line.
So you take a look, a little bit of a spin, and you separate. Demery goes upstairs to get his, and we've just spoken about both of these guys, and I love the way Newkirk really tries to feel and probe and get your body lined up against his, and he's very, very effective after he's gotten hit a little bit to finish shots.
78% for the free throw line. He misses the 3-point play. It's a 3-point game. Look how quickly Rhode Island gets back in the offensive ends. Doughton right to the basket, sweeping in.
I think one of the reasons they're trying to get up the court that quickly, Tom, is you and I haven't figured out what zone it is. If they don't let them set whatever that zone is from time to time, they can go after it a little bit more effectively.
Funk did not have his feet set on that 3. Doughton with an easy rebound.
Playing with confidence. Yesterday he was superb.
Doughton leaves it for Langevin, who was in foul trouble yesterday, and he turns it over.
Look up, you got one.
Here's Demery right to the rim, lays it in beautifully.
Langevin could be a key, though. I've watched a bunch of their games late in the last 6 games or so, and he played very well in a few of them. I wouldn't be surprised to see him have some activity off the glass.
He had a sports hernia he was dealing with early on this season, and Dan Hurley told us a couple weeks ago that he's better because he's practicing more, and his hand-eye coordination is just getting better.
Oh, watch out.
Demery for 3. It's short, and Funk trying to battle the rebound. Clover has it. Checo from the right wing. It's good. Here, Francesco Oliva with a 3-pointer.
Tom, yesterday he started and threw up an air ball. Then he gets to the free throw line. He throws up another air ball, and I'm saying, wow, this is a tough start. And I thought he played a great quote-unquote floor game yesterday.
Here's Jarvis Garrett, one of the floor generals for Rhode Island, with the miss.
We're going to leave on the left side here now.
Oliva right to the basket. Finger roll is beautiful. It's not George Gervin, but he was right to the rim.
Very good. The Iceman. He coming. He's holding that left wrist a little bit awkwardly.
Well, the 7-0 run is a little more than a minute old. Robinson for 3. He had a big shot yesterday to get Rhode Island going again. Now Terrell knocked away. Foul is called on Funk. The 11:34 to play first half. Little defense to offense for St. Joseph's.
Yeah, run it down the floor. Make sure, hey, we're here to play. We're here to play aggressively. And if you don't get back on defense, we are going to make you pay.
(23-15). St. Joseph's has the early lead over Rhode Island with 11:34 to play here in the first half. We talked about this is a rematch from the game at the end of the regular season where St. Joseph's beat up on Rhode Island. For more on that, let's go to Allie LaForce.
Hey, Tom and Jim, that was an emotional night for Rhode Island. They were trying to go undefeated at home. It was senior night. They had just received their highest national ranking in school history, but they let emotion get the best of them. We were talking to Coach Hurley before the game, and he said, I didn't bring that same edge that I'm used to bringing. He said, I treated that game like a celebration, and that was a mistake, and that was a huge learning experience for me. I also talked to E.C. Matthews. He said, listen, we tend not to care who we're playing. We focus on ourselves, but that was such a meaningful night for us. We were all hoping that it was St. Joseph's that we were playing in the A-10 tournament.
I thought it was really interesting what Dan said about he learned something from the last week of the season. Here's the box score. 52% for St. Joseph's, but only 3 of 29 for Rhode Island from 3.
Yeah, and listen, Rhode Island is a very, very good team. There's no question about that. But one little bump in the road, like Allie just brought to our attention in terms of that 30-point blowout, sometimes that could have like a mental stress level on not only the coach, but also the team, and saying, we've been great all season long, and all of a sudden we get blown away and they lose another, and then you start to think, well, you know what? How good are we? So maybe there's a little self-doubt, if you will, from Rhode Island's perspective.
Well, Terrell makes the first free throw. Doughton and Robinson check out. Fats Russell, the freshman, checks in. E.C. Matthews is back in as well for Rhode Island.
Nice matchup with Russell on Newkirk, I'm sure. He really, really will blitz you. Number one on the defensive end, number two with the ball offensively.
A little pressure now, man-to-man pressure by Rhode Island.
Big guy handling it.
Oliva picked up by E.C. Matthews. Matthews, an excellent defender for Rhode Island.
And a little bit more out in the perimeter. Watch for possibly a backdoor if they release and get to the high post.
Shot clock down to 10. Newkirk double team for a moment. 5 on the shot clock. Longpre doesn't realize it. 2 on the shot clock. He lets it fly. It's good. Oh, man.
Tom, don't worry about that shot clock. They had that under control the whole way. Wow, what a shot from long, long range.
26-17. The freshmen have really stepped it up for St. Joseph's here this afternoon. E.C. Matthews along the baseline.
Good collapse defensively.
And Terrell right to the rim. Off-balance shot. And a bump out of bounds. Well, let's take a look at who's on the floor, presented by Kubota. The freshman Taylor Funk. Oliva, the sophomore for St. Joseph's. Meanwhile, E.C. Matthews joined by Jarvis Garrett and Jared Terrell. How about this St. Joseph's team up 26-17.
I like the way they're playing under control, too, with only 1 turnover. So important to have that number down.
Clover against Garrett in the paint. He was just too strong, but he couldn't get the buddy to go down.
Wow. It's one of those, watching him yesterday and today, you see him pressing just a little bit too much.
Fats Russell for 3. Too strong initially, but he got the bend off the rim.
So one end, the little layup, they don't get the rim to be friendly to him. Now the other side, Rhode Island gets a good bounce. Look at this defensive effort now.
Fats Russell off the bench has been outstanding for the Rams this year. Longpre slips it to Oliva, and he's going to be called, I believe, for travel. Yes, he is.
He could have been called for 3 seconds also.
Here's Fats Russell on the previous possession.
So push it down the floor, get it to a guy. He's only a little under 30% from the 3-point stripe, but gets a friendly roll.
Dan Hurley told us a few weeks ago when he was recruiting Fats Russell, he said every game I went to see him, even though he was small, he was the best player on the floor.
Right. Forget about size then.
Here's Barry, slips his way to the basket. Power move.
The shot is one thing, but if you're going to allow him to get his body positioned perfectly, he's very, very good at being able to use that wide frame to get good post-up reception areas.
He has 6. Newkirk to the rim. He'll lay it in easily.
Well, when Rhode Island was starting to get it going at their end, it's St. Joe's perspective, good to get a score to kind of slow down the run a little bit. Look at those numbers, huh? 16 to 4 in the paint. And Newkirk is breathing pretty hard. Harder than we are over here.
He's got that big heavy brace on that left knee. Barry underneath. They did that yesterday with a high-low.
Yeah, bring him up the line. It's just a little trick. You got to move the defender just a touch up the line, and it gives you plenty of room to catch the over the top.
8 points for Barry. Newkirk trying to answer. Nope, Barry with the rebound.
Maybe a little quick on the jumper. Terrell likes to go to his right, too. Be careful with him over a screen.
DC Matthews wants it outside, but Barry's inside with the left hand.
All right, so Rhode Island has figured something out. They've adjusted on the fly to try to make sure they get the ball slicing to the basket on this 9-2 run.
Long play for three, trying to quiet it down. He does. It's another three for him. Interesting. Dan Hurley did tell us earlier today that he was going to try to go after the 5-man for St. Joseph's.
Look at this.
Demery thought about pulling it out for a three.
Keep swinging it.
Long play gives it off to Newkirk from the free throw line. Littlest guy underneath gets the basketball and the buckets.
A sensational shot that he squeezes it through somehow as he gets it to go down. The great part about this is, though, St. Joe's had 2 other guys on the offensive glass. When you're looking at this, look to your left. Both of them going after the ball. They get a little bit of a tip right to Newkirk, and they'll take it all day.
Joseph's on top by 7. Let's check in with our principal financial game plan. Jim?
Pretty good pace so far to this one, but St. Joe's has to continue to look defensively and really play well and look at the perimeter. Balancing the attack so far so good. Longpre with 11 points, but other than that, they've gotten guys contributing, and Batman trying to take the Capitol by storm here. But they also, Rhode Island, have to take care of the basketball and not allow St. Joe's to go the other way. So pretty good pace to this game so far. Really enjoyable, and St. Joe's really playing well.
Let's check in with Allie LaForce.
Hey guys, I checked in on Oliva's left wrist. The team told me he fell on it earlier in this game, so they taped it up quick. They said it's a small sprain, but nothing that he can't play through. So it might irritate him from time to time, but they're going to keep playing him through it.
No, Allie, the one thing we've noticed is that he is, over the last year, he may not be scoring as much, but he's certainly distributing well. Shavar Newkirk to the free throw line.
Yeah, and Allie, that's a great report on the injury, because keep in mind also that it is his left wrist as a right-handed player. So you can disguise that and get away with it a little easier than if it was your strong hand or his right hand.
Newkirk misses his second three-point play opportunity. He's 0 for 2 from the line. The Hawks have a 7-point lead.
The other part of that, Tom, with the injury is you don't want to come out of the game.
No, not at this level.
Yeah, exactly.
Robinson got some separation. Bounce pass to Barry. What a beautiful slip by Stanford Robinson.
And Barry continues to be a big factor just in his positioning.
12 points, 6 for 6 from the floor. Funk and an illegal screen on Clover.
So we're going to take a look at this last possession. Barry, as we just touched on, having a very good start. But watch his positioning right there. He's just locking it, and he's just going to wait. Now watch, he's going to roll just a little bit, puts his hand up. That gives the passer enough room on the baseline to deliver. He goes down low. Beautiful design of that play, but Barry's initial positioning, even though he didn't move a whole lot, he started by having terrific positioning against his defender.
And now a 5-point deficit with the basketball. They go to Barry again, and he's fouled going up by Funk. Well, you're right. They did find something, and they are exploiting it right now.
So now we have seen St. Joe's go in, with this 2-3, Tom, and from time to time, they basically, Phil Martelli has had the middleman of the 2-3, right? The 3 in the back or against the baseline come up to the middle of the floor and play the free throw line. What's happening there is when he's coming up, Rhode Island is adjusting to that. That's why we've seen Barry just be featured down here.
Barry 71% from the line, makes the first. Yeah, it is an interesting defensive alignment. A lot of times you'll do a box and one, on the best player, but in this case, it's almost like a boxing one on the 5 guy.
Right, and the 5 guy can go all the way to the wing.
Right.
So we'll keep an eye on it, see what kind of adjustment they make.
1 possession game, under 7 minutes to play, first half.
Yeah, so you want to be a point guard going up against Russell, huh? Whoa.
Funk for 3. It's good. Fats Russell got knocked to the floor and the opposite side of the floor.
And pretty good work by Robinson just getting it up the floor.
Here's Doughton right to the basket, and it lays off the side of the rim.
I think Rhode Island has figured out that they can really drive the ball. He wants to come right, Tom. You notice the way he's trying to get up the sideline, and Russell is just jumping him just a little bit. So Funk continues. Watch Funk right here with his action. So he's just going to have to turn and watch, and he pops out. And you think that's both a set and that's basketball reaction. Just watching the guy with the basketball after you turn.
Well, he has 8 points. Longpre has 11, both freshmen for St. Joseph's. Longpre tried that shot from earlier, and he slips it out of bounds, and it'll be Rhode Island basketball. Make sure to tune in to the 2018 Reese's College All-Star Game on March 30th, live right here on CBS Sports Network. You see Matthews over to Terrell. Robinson against Oliva. Bad pass cut off by Demery.
3-on-2 if they hurry.
Demery high-stepping right to the basket. Short, but Clover's hand is there to tip it in.
And probably a decent side for Clover, too, Tom. The fact that he's been struggling to see something go down.
So 38-30. Actually, I'll correct myself because I led you astray. Nick Robinson was the hands. Yep. Clover was off to the other side.
I took your bait.
Here's E.C. Matthews. E.C. forcing a little bit there?
A little bit, yeah, to kind of play hero ball a little bit maybe, get his team going.
Robinson loses it. Here comes Rhode Island in transition. They're excellent in transition, and Terrell cannot finish, but he's fouled. All right, so number 5 slipped in to tip this one in.
So here's the work on the glass. And you look at the St. Joe's players from that angle down below. Right there, ball comes off. Nice soft tip.
So Terrell to the line. 2 shots, 2 for 2 for the free throw line so far. 2 for 3. Yesterday, Rhode Island had 8 straight from the free throw line to close out their victory to get to the semifinal.
Tom, and I go back to what Phil Martelli told us before the game, right? You know, we didn't back our way in here. We deserve to be here. And I think if they can get this 5:15 on this clock to disappear and go into the half with a lead of some sort, I think they come out believing we can beat Rhode Island again. Forget about backing our way in, or, you know, as people saying we backed our way in.
Demery slips and falls, but is able to get it to a teammate. Robinson for 3. Looked like it was partially blocked by Doughton.
Better get back in a hurry.
Here comes Robinson. And he's drawing the contacts.
The last 2 trips with St. Joe's and Phil Martelli's team, they have to get back. You see, they're getting back, but the other part is, Tom, they're not getting back fast enough to get themselves in good defensive position. So it's one thing to run the floor, but you have to make sure you're aware of where the ball is so you can square up to it.
And Robinson misses the first one. And let's face it, if you go around the Atlantic 10, because of their veteran status, nobody gets to the rim better than this Rhode Island team. It's a little different than last year's team, which penetrated the inside to the big men.
Yes, exactly. So it's a different look defensively, and that's why what St. Joe's needs to do is they need to get back quickly so they can set up whatever it's going to be, the 2-3 to 3-2. You know, a little run away from the 3-2, whatever they're going to call it this afternoon. It's really designed to throw a little kink, to force Rhode Island to look at it a little extra and say, what should we run against this?
Robinson looked like he got away with the travel. Newkirk, shot fake, down low, Demery, off the glass, good. Good extra pass.
Yeah, it sure was, and like you touched on a second ago, what a beautiful ball fake by Newkirk to get the defender to release and lift. Now see, this is just the traditional 2-3 right there. But watch the middleman. He's the trigger. He's got to try to stay 2 spots. He didn't do it that time.
Yeah, he bit that freed Barry. He just couldn't convert.
That's what they're trying to attack, the middleman, along the baseline or from the front of the floor.
Newkirk was open. He leaned a little too much. Gets his own rebound, though. Under 4 to play first half. The 4 seed against the 1 seed. 4 seeds up by 8.
Russell is quick, isn't he?
He sure is.
Isolation. Go quickly.
And Oliva's going to get called for an offensive foul.
Yeah, you can't go backwards. You got to go around that defender.
40-32. St. Joseph's on top by 8. Under 4 minutes to play. The 4 seed against the number 1 seed here in D.C. Bracket Week presented by Kubota finds us in Washington, D.C. We take a look at our game summary so far. The Hawks are on top by 8, shooting the ball very well, particularly from beyond the arc. Yeah,
look at that 6 of 10. I like the assist, too. You know, when they're coming down the floor, they're pretty comfortable. And 22 points in the paint is a big number. And a lot of the damage by Longpre. Even though he goes deep right here, he's mixing it up a little bit. A twisting drive. Watch the twist and turns on his body and the basketball to get that one to go down. So nice effort for him so far with his 11 points. 4 or 5 from the field.
Just a freshman, 6'10". Dan Hurley has been utilizing the inside game of Andre Berry. Take a look at the shooting struggles for Rhode Island. They really shot poorly in the first matchup, and now 11 for 23 here today.
Yeah, they're trying to just push that last matchup totally out of their minds as much as they can. But right now, if I'm St. Joseph's, I'm thinking, you know what? We whacked these guys pretty good, and we're competing, and we're ahead by 8 right now. We belong.
There's Terrell to Doughton. Terrell and E.C. Matthews haven't gotten rolling just yet. Terrell hops into the paint. That is a tough shot. It's going to be tipped out to Doughton with a fresh 30. Fats Russell for 3. No good. Barry with the rebound, and the putback is off the mark. Look at the battle underneath for that loose ball.
Yeah, Robinson close to going over the top. He grabbed his shirt, I think, didn't he?
I think he may have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you, from the inside perspective, you could see it. And Danny Hurley and his team are on the opposite side of the grab just then with the shirt. And now watch the shirt.
The shorts.
It's the pants. I'm sorry. It's the, excuse me, it's the shorts.
I don't think he's allowed to give him a wedgie in the middle of a basketball game.
We do not want any of that action for sure. But that's a terrific call, though.
Shot clock sits at 25. Move. Demery with the fake pass goes to the rim, and it's out of bounds off Rhode Island.
He was getting ready to crank one just then.
I don't know if anybody touched it.
Somebody probably got a little finger on it.
Demery has been coming off the bench the last 4 games. Longpre for 3. Faded back on that one.
And that's why you're short.
And here's Fats Russell, and it's out of bounds. And they're going to call a foul. Shabar Newkirk called for the personal foul.
You know, Tom, you spoke about it a little earlier, the quickness of how they get up the floor, no faster than with Russell. And that's the correct call also on Newkirk. He just never allowed Newkirk to get back and establish good defensive position. So when your feet aren't established, from a player's perspective, what do you try to do? You use your hands a little too much.
Allie, what do you got?
Notice Coach quickly got a substitution for Barry because on that last play, he hurt himself in some way to where he was limping so much he could barely make it over to the free throw line. So they're going to get him a quick sub and take a look at him. I'll let you know as I have more information. All
right, Allie, thank you. He is playing more minutes today than he did yesterday.
Oh, and he's been playing so well, 6 of 8. There's a good move there by Newkirk.
Yeah, Fats Russell called for his second foul. Let's take a look at Andre Berry today.
The initial part of it was just the positioning. It wasn't like he was going from side to side or moving 5 or 7 feet. He was just basically going 2 or 3 steps. Now he has beautiful position down low. And the one thing that Rhode Island has been doing extremely well is finding him also.
Front end of the 1-and-1. Newkirk, it's good. So Berry on the bench. He's played 14 minutes already today. He played 20 yesterday. And for a big body like that, that's a lot more at this point.
Yeah. Well, and the other part of it that I would think about is how does it change the dynamics of your offense? We've just featured him in the blocks, getting a lot of touches 5-7 feet from the basket. Now it turns Rhode Island into a little bit more of a slashing team, which they can do, and maybe an outside shooting team a little bit more than without Berry there. Yeah,
Kelly is in at the center position. He's the junior.
Look at all the room back there, though. They're going to try to figure out how to find that with a quick cut.
Garrett running the point. Doughton from the corner for three. It's good. After 5 misses, Rhode Island connects on a three-pointer.
And watch for their big. When they swing it, I would drop it down. After you swing it side to side, look for your post-up guy who's wide open in the middle.
The lead is 6. We head toward the 2-minute mark here in the first half. Demery, jumper good. What did Pete Carrillo used to say? Well, if you're that close to the three-point line, just slide behind the three-point line.
He knew what he was talking about a little bit, Pete Carrillo.
44-36. 2 minutes left here in the first half. Terrell for three from the sideline. It's good over the top of Longpre.
And how did the offense change without Berry on the floor? We've just seen it. 2 times down, 2 long strokes. And the Rhode Island fans giving a little bit of a support. I know it's early in this game, but this is a big possession just to get your confidence back for St. Joe's.
Robinson too strong. Good defense out front against him. Terrell wanted to take that three, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And watch him driving to his right. Little pull-up.
17-footer, too strong.
There, Rhode Island collectively looking a little more confident. Oh, there's a reach in.
Well, they're going to call a trip against Rhode Island. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Dana Jacobson, Swin Cash, John Rothstein, and Jerry Palmer standing by in our New York studio. They'll get you up to speed on all the news and action happening today around college basketball.
Well, Danny Hurley does not like that call.
His assistant David Cox and Tom Moore both trying to calm him down. It's going to send Newkirk to the free throw line. I'll take a peek. It almost looked like it was an inadvertent leg, but there was contact.
But the defender's leg did come out just a touch.
Newkirk just made 2 straight free throws.
And that was the second one on Terrell, too.
Yep.
So that's why he's gone to the bench, which is a good move with a minute and change left. You do not, if you're Rhode Island, want to have Terrell pick up an extra foul.
Timeout called by Dan Hurley. St. Joseph's up by 5. St. Joseph's up by 5. Andre Berry's been on the bench for the last few minutes with 14 points. It looked like he injured himself on this play. It's a knee-to-knee contact.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's a funny thing about that, too, Tom, after you look at his grimace just then. You can have knee-to-knee contact, and we say, okay, you and I are banging our knees against one another. Both of us should get hurt. But there are times when one guy knees another and doesn't feel a thing, and the guy receiving it like says, wow, that hurt. And you notice the bigger guy got the worse compared to the little skinny guy.
No, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
There you go.
We'll check on him and see when he comes back in. He certainly has had an impact here today for the Rams. 1 minute to play in the first half.
Maybe a step.
A little bit.
Yep. High screens against the 2-3 zone.
Here's Doughton. Shot clock is down to 7. Garrett inside, and it looks like a Kelly is fouled going up with 6 on the shot clock. Let's take a step back and see for the A-10 who's in, who's out, Jimmy.
Well, I think you have the first 2 there, Rhode Island and St. Bonaventure. Yep. Davidson, that 108 strength of schedule is not a great number there, but they have a game this afternoon. See how they play there. I think that's a huge, huge factor in terms of how well they do.
Yeah, the fact that they're playing St. Bonaventure in the second game of this semifinal. St. Bonaventure is coming on strong. Strength of schedule for Rhode Island, 44, RPI 14. It's been pretty consistent most of the year. Kelly made one, missed one. It's 44-40. And the ball deflected out of bounds by Kelly.
And so now he can't run. But he can move about 1.5 feet to each side, which a lot of people don't realize. When you're taking this ball out of bounds, you don't have to nail your feet in. So as you're taking it out, you have 1.5 feet here, and you have 1.5 feet there to get a better angle to pass it in. A lot of guys, see, he's just standing still up there, gets it in. That's a tough spot that he could have double teamed there.
Got a Kelly covering Oliva, both from Italy, different parts of Italy, and a timeout called by Shavar Newkirk. It's a 4-point lead for St. Joseph's. 40 seconds to play when we come back. All the stars are out today, including Donkey Kong, with St. Joseph's on top 44-40. Oh, and Jim Spinarco and Ali LaForce. I'm Tom McCarthy. Hey, the Conference USA Tournament Championship later on tonight. Marshall against Western Kentucky. Marshall, the number 4 seed. Western Kentucky, the number 3 seed. Carter Blackburn and Pete Gillen will be doing the game. Jamie Erdahl will be there too. It's all right here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. A automatic bid will be given out for the champion. Well, we've been here for a couple of days and we've seen some really good bands.
We have.
George Mason, VCU, Rhode Island band, the St. Joseph's band here today.
I saw my 2 buddies from the VCU band who I was. We took a picture, and then after the picture was finished, I looked at both of them and I said, now leave me alone. Get away from me.
I don't know if people remember.
They were great guys.
Jim last year in Pittsburgh was stuck in an elevator for 2 hours without any instruments.
No, thank goodness.
36 seconds to play. Newkirk, 17 on the shot clock. Newkirk's looking for somebody. He finds Robinson with 10 on the shot clock. Robinson step back against E.C. Matthews, draws the contact, count the buckets. Is there a little luck involved with that?
Oh, yeah, sure there is sometimes because you're searching out a guy. Now watch the ball fake. Up, defender's there. And the best part about that play was that he did not jump too far into him. You see, Matthews is coming towards him. Sometimes you can get in trouble if you're the offensive player by jumping out and into a guy. Robinson timed it perfectly. Defender comes flying through and coming at him after the ball fake.
Robinson with 4 points so far in today's game.
Plus, it's a potentially 3 big points closing out the half.
Well, there it is. It's a 7-point game. Substitution. Lorenzo Edwards will be in for the first time as St. Joseph's goes a little bigger at the end of this possession. Yeah,
with Newkirk with 2 fouls, you want to get him out. So that's a good substitution. If they get a turnover, maybe they put him back in offensively.
Dowden's going to hold it for the last shot. 15 seconds left to play in the first half.
Watch out for Terrell on the right side.
You see Matthews off to the left as well. Robinson has made some big shots at the end of games. Doughton's peering, 2 left, now to Robinson, and it's no good. And St. Joseph's will take a 7-point lead into the halftime locker room, up 47-40. Well, it was a very entertaining first half on a lot of fronts. And the Hawks with this 7-point lead. Let's go to Ali LaForce with Phil Martelli.
Coach, on offense, everyone was contributing, shooting nearly 60% in that half. What did you like about the way you were attacking out there?
Well, I like that we had balance. I didn't like some of our decisions, though. Sometimes we went too fast. We had too many turnovers. I don't know the right number, but we had too many for that half.
On defense, when Barry was on the floor, he had 14. What was he doing? What was Rhode Island doing to put him in a position?
They did a terrific job of making sure that they got him sealed on the inside. We had made a switch. We put a smaller guy inside to see if we can combat that.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Jim. Coach is still finding something he can criticize about.
Turnovers. They only had 5. I'd be happy with that number.
47-40. St. Joseph's on top of Rhode Island. After the break, we'll send you to Dana Jacobson, Swin Cash, John Rothstein, and Jerry Palm in New York with AT&T at the half. You're watching college basketball on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Bracket week presented by Kubota here in Washington, D.C. St. Joseph's on top 47-40. We get set for the second half. Let's go to Allie LaForce with Dan Hurley.
Hey, Coach. So for the second time in 2 weeks, St. Joseph's has figured out a way to challenge you. How did they do it today?
I mean, they're making an incredible amount of shots. Some open ones and some really tough ones. We just got to make them play a full 40 and see if we could break them here in the second half.
You were really able to use Barry to take advantage of their defense in the first half. How did you do it?
Well, just, they're obviously, switching a lot of things, and we're finding some good ways to get him the ball. We just have to stop them at the other end.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, Allie, thank you very much. So we saw the last game between these two. Right. Rhode Island had 3 threes. They have 6 right now. Now, that's not what Phil Martelli would like to give up for the Rhode Island Rams.
Yeah, and I think overall, to Allie's report then with Coach Danny Hurley just then, I think Danny's hoping that St. Joe's isn't ready to go 40 minutes today. You know, it's 20 minutes of the first half, and he's hoping that he can come back out here and really do what he wants to. And they obviously, St. Joe's side of the equation, they just got to figure out how to keep it going.
Trying to wear things down. We take a look at our first half statistics. Each team has made 6 3-pointers. That's important for St. Joseph's. Meanwhile, points of the paint dominated by the Hawks in the first half.
Yeah, and at the end of that first half, Phil Martelli wasn't happy because coaches always find something to complain about. But 5 turnovers is a good number for St. Joe's. And we talked about Demery and Newkirk at the beginning of this broadcast, and Newkirk just putting the pressure on you. We talk a lot of times about putting the pressure on the guy with the ball. Well, he put the pressure on the defenders with the way he was handling it, little run-out basket. I thought St. Joe's was very comfortable at the offensive end of the floor, and you take a look at Batman and Batman.
3 points for E.C. Matthews. I think that's the stunner right there. E.C. Matthews only 4 shots.
Yeah, and look at 3 for 12 from the floor between the two of them. If they duplicate that in the second half, St. Joe's is going to be in the driver's seat. We'll see how they come out and respond as seniors.
All right, so Rhode Island will have the basketball to begin the second half for a chance to move on tomorrow's championship game against the winner of St. Bonaventure and Davidson, which is coming up after this one. So a 7-point lead for the Hawks, the number 4 seed, against the top seed Rhode Island Rams.
You have to believe that Danny Hurley spent some time in that break at the halftime talking about how do we go against the 2-3 zone. What does St. Joe's come out? They come out in a straight-up man-to-man.
And Terrell loses the basketball, and it's picked up by Funk, so a turnover right out of the chute for the Rams.
Yeah, nice decision by Phil Martelli. Now, I would not be shocked to see him go back and forth now a couple of times between zone and man.
Yeah, in fact, Dan Hurley said that he expects one when they make something and one when they miss something, and that ball gets lodged. So it'll be a foul call. Otherwise, it would have been a jump ball. It's Stan Robinson called for the personal foul.
Love the neck ball wedgie, don't you? More importantly for St. Joe's, we get a couple of free throws out of it.
Yeah, it sends Robinson to the line, 80% for the free throw line. And he makes the first. Robinson, who initially committed to Indiana State and then opened up his recruiting again out of Chicago, Illinois, and wound up on the East Coast in Philadelphia.
And he's been playing well for St. Joe's over the last 6 games, getting double figures in each of those 6 games. So the big thing too is if they get fouled, Tom, making you free throws with a big lead, 9-point lead.
St. Joseph's now 5 of 8 from the free throw line. Meanwhile, Rhode Island 8 of 12. They go to Barry again, slips and forces his way to the basket. This time Longpre was able to get some help and pushed him away a little bit.
He sure did, and the other part of that was it was a 2-3 zone. Nobody home.
And Newkirk right to the basket, and it's now the largest lead of the day, and a timeout called by Dan Hurley.
And the guys moving without the basketball, a big factor in terms of why Newkirk got to the middle of the floor. St. Joe's Hawks fans are loving this. St. Joseph's up 11 points, and Berry for Rhode Island right here has been a big factor, especially in that first half. Watch as he slides. Now you have to have a second guy come in to help, and they get that from Funk. So good recognition to try to at least help. Now watch as they come down the floor. What does Rhode Island do? As you see a stop here, his job, get out of the way. So watch when he leaves and vacates, and watch his defender. His defender doesn't help out. Newkirk recognizes that he vacates the area. Big old lane to work with. Very well done in transition offense. Not so much for Rhode Island on transition defense.
Well, the number 1 seeds have had a tough time in the last 5 A-10 tournaments. Last year, Rhode Island was the number 4 seed. They won it. St. Joseph's the number 4 seed in 16, and VCU the number 5 seed the year before that. And the #1 seed is down by 11 here in the second half. Doughton short on the jumper, but gets his own rebound. And kicks it back to Terrell.
Doughton knew that was short.
Here's E.C. Matthews for three. No good.
That little push.
And a foul called underneath. It's going to go against Newkirk. 13 field goals in the paint. Rhode Island with 13 field goals made overall.
Boy, that's a staggering number, isn't it?
Sure is. Newkirk just picked up his third personal foul, so that's something to watch, because St. Joseph's, if he's out, then Oliva sometimes then takes over the point. He's a totally different point guard.
Yeah, I think Phil Martelli was looking at his assistant coaches and saying, what should we do? If he were a younger player than a senior, I think they'd move him and get him off the floor. He's going to go back to the zone, and he's going to hope that the zone can buy him time, but there's still 18 and change here.
Doughton to Matthews, open again for three. This time it's good. They got to get him going.
Really do. Now, he could score, but he's not been shooting the ball as well. Look at this, another drive.
Newkirk right to the basket. This time can't finish, and now it's going to be 5-on-4 Rhode Island.
And he's holding his right upper ankle down at the other end of the floor.
And the missed shot is corralled by St. Joseph's.
Surprised they're not calling timeout right now.
And whistle blows at a foul called on Stanford Robinson. So his left knee was an issue last year, and he's holding the right ankle now.
Yeah, and he's holding the front of it too, Tom. Sometimes that could be a problem. Let's see if he just may have been when he came down. You see him immediately holding on to it. Let's see when he comes down. Yeah, you see it? It buckled a little bit underneath him. And he immediately grabs.
Well, Bill Lukaszewicz will take a look at it on the sidelines. Robinson is on to run the point for St. Joseph's. He is that versatile.
Can he break people down off the dribble as well as Newkirk?
Covered by Doughton. Berry with a nice hedge, down low, long prey. Well, he just hedged just a little bit too much and fell back.
Exactly, and floating away to the baseline rather than turning the shoulders in towards the glass.
Here's E.C. Matthews hopping to the basket. Tough shot and angle, no good. Dan Hurley wanted a foul. There looked like there was some contact.
Well, the next couple of possessions, it'll be interesting to see how St. Joseph's reacts without that point guard on the floor.
Nice shot bank by Longpre, and he goes right to the rim and lays it in.
Well, there's one possession that looked pretty good.
He has 13 points. A young man who did not start playing basketball until he was 12. He came to the United States from Quebec for high school and didn't speak any English. Trying to defend Berry underneath. Berry can't get two shots to go down. And a foul on the floor called against Longpre. Let's check in with Ali LaForce.
Guys, the team just told me that Newkirk just tweaked his ankle. They're not going to retape it or do any work on it. They're just going to let him work it out on the sidelines until he feels comfortable enough to go back in.
Well, they've had ankle injuries or ankle problems this whole year with Newkirk and Demery.
You know what's ironic about that too, Tom? With the 3 fouls that he had, Phil Martelli wanted to take him out of the game, right? So he was forced out of the game because of that, hopefully just a slight injury, as Ali just mentioned.
Here's Doughton cut off up top.
Good luck.
Yep, Berry underneath. It's blocked away, and they're going to call foul on either Funk or Longpre. We'll see who they give it to.
Well, they're still looking for Berry in that low post, and it's 6'8", 275. They collapse on him, but just because of his size and his positioning, somebody's going to take a smack at him and hit him.
Well, Berry will go to the free throw line. This young man was under-recruited when he was coming out of high school. Went to New Mexico Military Academy and eventually found his way to Rhode Island. You want to talk about somebody who's been very patient over the years. Makes both free throws. He'll check out. Cyril Langevin will check in. He didn't play a whole lot in the first half.
No, he did not. Limited minutes. He's been struggling a little bit as of late.
Foul trouble's been his issue.
Yeah. There's 4 minutes. He could give them a lift on the offensive glass, too.
See the field goals this half. Robinson spinning off the glass. It's good. He got Doughton really deep.
He sure did. And the thing about it, too, he's calling out the play, whereas more so with Newkirk is more of like an instinctive, let's go, let's keep it moving. So it'll be interesting to see how he runs the point.
He has 9 points for St. Joseph's on 3 of 5 from the floor. Robinson along the baseline.
Good extra pass.
SEC Matthews for 3 again. He's made back-to-back threes now.
Good decision by Doughton, too. Good work, both the baseline and then kicking it out to the middle of the floor. Rhode Island building on their offensive efficiency and success, so they're getting a little rhythm now.
Every one of the Rhode Island coaches followed the offense for St. Joseph's up the floor, barking at their defense.
Oh, it's a double dribble. They got away with it.
Demery covered by Terrell, stripped away by Terrell, and it remains St. Joseph's basketball.
And here comes Robinson. He's calling out the play. And guess whose number he's calling? Number 5. Get out of my way. I'll finish this one off by myself. They needed that bucket to keep their rhythm without Newkirk who's sitting on the bench.
St. Joseph's on top by 7, 55-48. They've got some spectators. The second one to the left is Lamar Kimball, and the fourth one to the left was Charlie Brown. These guys were expected to be 2 huge pieces to the puzzle for St. Joseph's this year that would enable them to contend for the league title. They went down with injuries. Shavar Newkirk, who had a knee injury and an ankle injury today, they were going to have him sit out a little bit longer, but he had to then be pressed into playing. Kimball, the foot injury. Charlie Brown, you see the cast on his hand. They thought he'd be back on several different occasions, and Shavar Newkirk is back in, but there was a thought that Newkirk would even sit out most of this year and come back next year.
Well, they need him this afternoon, that's for sure, and he's putting up some nice numbers as they went on. Rhode Island went on an 8-4 run without him on the floor. He's knocking on the door of a possible triple-double.
Yeah, the last one to do that in an A-10 tournament was Rodney Blake in 1986 as the inbounds is knocked out of bounds.
Yeah, Tom, worth mentioning, too, the one number that's the most important for Newkirk is he has 3 fouls, too. So let's see how he plays with 3 fouls and a tweak, let's call it a tweaked ankle, and see if that affects him defensively. I'm sure they'll stick with a lot of zones, St. Joseph's, to protect him for another probably 10 minutes or 8 minutes at least.
Only 4 on the shot clock on the inbound. Demery goes right to the basket and can't force his way into the rim.
I think he should have taken that to the left side rather than the right.
You see Matthews finds Doughton. DC no-look pass cut off.
Nice work by Funk to get that right hand on the inside of the zone.
5 turnovers for Rhode Island. Robinson has that shot blocked by Langevine, and it goes out of bounds.
That's a nifty little play.
How about that?
And Robinson gets this shot blocked. It's a good block, but now watch what he does after this. The ball's going out of bounds, but not off him, so he stops the Rhode Island player, Langevine, from getting to it.
The inbounds tipped high in the air, and Terrell has it. Now it's picked up by St. Joseph's. Newkirk for 3, no good.
Why? I'm wondering why he shot that ball just then.
Yeah, he had Funk wide open in the corner.
Yeah, 25 seconds on the shot clock.
You see Matthews along the baseline.
Don't get this pace going too crazy if you're St. Joseph's.
And Doughton is fouled. Count the bucket with a little continuation.
Now against the zone, there's a change that's going on right now, Tom. The outside, because Newkirk is playing outside. Watch what they can do. They can drive at him. See, he's not a factor right there because he has 3 fouls. So they can go by him very easily, and they're going to have advantages underneath the basket. They'll create 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s out of their half-court sets.
Well, they're going to bring Oliva in for Longpre as Doughton goes to the free throw line. And he makes the 3-point play. It's an 8-2 run for Rhode Island. The lead is down to 4 for St. Joseph's.
Now you got a bad ankle. Let's see. Let's test you down, picking him up full court.
Boy, so many things that coaches think of during a game. I don't even know if I would have thought about that. Picking him up full court to test that ankle. Robinson step back jumper from the free throw line. That's a sweet move.
That really is. The little blast to his left gets the defender kind of rolling his shoulders and his body backwards. And good scorers know how to stop quickly and go up.
Well, that's 11 points now for Robinson.
This is a look like no, it's a matchup now. They're going to match it up.
EC Matthews got some separation. Three-pointer too strong. Robinson with the rebound. How about that finish? With an extra spin on the basketball.
He's been playing well over the last 4 games. And playing well there with that little drive, a second opportunity off the offensive glass. And he's got to be careful driving to the basket, too, with 3 fouls.
Newkirk is putting on a Marcus Haynes display out along the top of the circle.
You notice how he hasn't lost anybody yet, though.
No. 6 on the shot clock. Jumper is good. He got separation. Out the bucket.
Well, excuse me. He got separation just then.
I think he tired a lot of eyes out.
You know, at first he's doing a lot of action, a lot of motion to go nowhere. And now he turns. Doughton turns his back on him, too. And once you get a player behind you, you know you're in control on the offensive end. Well done.
Fourth 1-and-1 for St. Joseph's today. Newkirk to the line. Makes the bucket. Or end one, I should say. And it's 60-53. He missed 2 3-point plays in the first half.
So now you have the best way to determine whether it's a matchup or not is when somebody cuts. You see all the pointing? The pointing just says, I have the next guy who fills my spot. There's a good hands.
Well, coming up next, it'll be St. Bonaventure and Davidson. The Bonnies are the 2 seed, Davidson the 3 seed. Then tomorrow on CBS, you can join Ian Eagle, who's right there. Nice smile, Ian.
Is that Ian Eagle?
Yeah, they let him in.
I thought that was a runner.
Well, I did see him get you a bottle of water before.
There we go.
Ian will be here, Jim Spinarco and Ali LaForce. He just doesn't like the attention.
No, he doesn't at all.
All right, so 12:53 to play here in the second half. They're going to take a peek on what happened on the sidelines there. Les Jones is the referee, and they're checking on the shot clock as well. With St. Joseph's on top by 7. So it'll be Rhode Island basketball, and Jim, they're just trying to decide whether there's any kind of a reset or if it's it's still 6 on the shot clock.
Okay, so far,
yeah, Funk has it, and he actually ran into Les Jones.
Question becomes, did he have possession?
That's true. I mean, it didn't look like he was totally corralling it, but it looked like he was trying to pass it. Good hands by Funk.
See, he doesn't have possession. He's trying to make. He doesn't have possession there. And did that ball actually go out of bounds? As it hit?
It hit the official right there in the face.
All right, so he's out of bounds.
He's out of bounds.
Okay.
So they'll keep the shot clock at 6.
Yeah, with Rhode Island possession. That makes sense.
All right, so Terrell will inbound.
Give it right back to him. Nice hands.
And look at where EC Matthews is. EC Matthews is along the baseline. Terrell is the primary guy this year scoring wise, but yes, now EC's going to walk over toward the Rhode Island side of the floor. Now Garrett into the paint, slips it to Langevin, and that one got off in time.
A nice execution too by Rhode Island, understanding the shot clock. And here's where you have the big guy who leave outside, helping out with some point guard duties.
Newkirk working against Garrett, knocked to the floor, maintained his dribble. Shot clock is under 10. They go inside to Demery. Demery off the backboard. His foul going up. Well, this is a well-executed play by Rhode Island.
Yeah, it sure is. And the clock, remember, the inbounds pass comes in at 5. And watch the way it's going to end up developing over here. So here's your step in and a beautiful delivery. Langevin getting that one because he positioned himself very well, and obviously Demery had to release and step up a little bit to defend.
Demery to the line, makes the first one. Demery has been working off the bench the last 4 games. St. Joseph's is 4-0 during that time as Berry comes back in for Rhode Island. And so does Fats Russell. Part of the reason why Phil Martelli is doing it, he said, well, we're 4-0. He said, but I also think I can manage his minutes better. And it makes him more effective at the end of games.
Yep, exactly. And I would think that Garrett and Russell are going to double team, take turns on Newkirk when he's bringing the ball up, just to really try to wear him out. We'll find out in a couple of minutes whether the ankle's really bothering him or not. Didn't look like it so far, fortunately for St. Joseph's.
12 minutes to play. Russell for 3. And it rims out. Oh, Terrell tried to bring it home and couldn't. But Rhode Island will get the basketball back. Berry gets deep. Goes back to the basket. It's good.
How about that little turn, Tom? He catches it and he turns towards the right shoulder to get the defender just to lean, just a touch, and then he finishes it off. The position is just incredible that he's been getting. 7-11 from the floor.
18 points for Andre Berry. Oliva loses the basketball.
Here comes the blast up.
Russell to Robinson for 3. It's short.
Oh, look at Russell.
The ball is loose. Berry to the floor. Just throws it up for grabs. Terrell for 3. Oh, man. Pinballs in and out. And Demery with the rebound and gets, he's able to clear it.
All right, let's play, Tom.
You don't think the roof would have popped off on the Rhode Island side if Terrell had made that?
Wow, these guys are just going after it. Go up with it if you're in there.
Here's Funk for 3. It's good.
Oliva played well yesterday with the floor game. He didn't shoot it well, but he had 7 rebounds and 4 assists, and there he makes a good play on an offensive rebound.
Hey, listen, the storyline of this game could have changed on a handful of different occasions on those last 2 possessions. 8-point lead.
They switched Newkirk to this side.
Garrett. Berry rebound, stripped away by Newkirk, out of bounds. Woo, 10:31 to play here in the second half.
Well, we're going to go back inside if you're Rhode Island. Berry, little fake and finish. And then who wants it? Well, there's Berry again going after it. And here's the kick out. Funk gets his feet set and ready to rip. St. Joseph is alive and kicking.
65-57, 10:31 to play here in the second half. The number 4 seed on top of the number 1 seed. Let's check in with our principal financial game plan. What are you seeing right now, Jim? What you thought about?
Well, you know, I think the one thing that stands out for St. Joseph's is that 5 players with 10 points or more, the balance of their attack, which was very important to distribute the basketball. And Batman for Rhode Island just have to get it going. 5 of 20 from the floor. And you see that, that's a tough number. But you know what, Tom, there's a reason that they're 24-6, Rhode Island. We got 10.5 minutes left in this game. I don't think anybody, including St. Joseph's, is saying this is going to be a pushover for the next 10.5. This is going to be a pretty good game down in this last 10 minutes and change.
So Rhode Island will inbound. Doughton gets it to Matthews, and there is Batman number 1 right to the basket.
And St. Joseph's fell asleep on the inbounds play. Nice recognition. We've seen a couple of timeout calls by Danny Hurley that have worked. That one where they spread the floor for a drive and a layup, and now that one.
You see Matthews now with 11. Newkirk goes to the basket, draws the foul, and will go to the free throw line.
I keep looking at Newkirk driving to the basket, and he's very good at avoiding the charges. But everybody steps out, and then all of a sudden, Oliva's in pretty good position, but not good enough. He just wasn't quick to the reaction.
They even could have called a foul on Oliva for an N1. Newkirk to the free throw line. What do you got, Allie?
Well, we saw him injure his ankle today. You guys talked previously about his knee injury. He told me, he said, my mental's always strong, but there are still moments when I know I'm not 100%. Some days it feels like I don't get enough lift. Other days it feels like I can't be as explosive as I can be. So you add the previous knee injury and the fact that he's still feeling the repercussions of that, along with the ankle injury. It's amazing that he's still out there doing what he's doing.
Anybody that has had a torn ACL, you realize that they say you can be back playing X amount of time, but it takes a little longer to make it stronger.
It does, that's for sure. And I'll tell you, his knee and ankle might be bothering him, but I don't think his heart is. He comes at you and plays hard.
Well, he's 4 of 8 from the free throw line. He's made this a 7-point game again. We are just about halfway through the second half. Again, the zone by St. Joseph's.
It's interesting how they're keeping the ball most of the time on the side and beginning it on Newkirk's side.
Three-pointer is good from the corner. Garrett. Young man who was the starting point guard last year and then dealt with colitis. That's when Doughton took over. May not get to 1,000 points. He'll be very close to it for his career. Shot clock under 10.
American Newkirk there. Good lob.
Inside for Demery with a tough angle. Gets it to slide off the back of the rim.
Yeah, I thought he might have gotten bumped on the way when he was twisting and turning, but that's a big hoop for St. Joseph's to respond because Rhode Island's starting to come at them right now. You sense it, a little bit of momentum and a little bit more confidence collectively for Rhode Island.
Garrett again for three, trying to make it two in a row, and he does.
There you go. They're moving the basketball. They're looking for shooters in the last two trips down the floor. Enough touches on both sides of the floor to get their rhythm on their shots.
Yeah, that's 10 threes now for Rhode Island. They had 11 yesterday. Oliva to Robinson, cut up, finger roll is good. He may have gotten away with a travel.
Might have, but it was a beautiful curl cut, and Oliva with a beautiful dish.
Oliva with 3 assists.
I don't know what's going to happen the last 8.5 minutes, Tom, but this has been fun.
It's been excellent.
It sure has been.
Phil Martelli said he wants his team to be within reach late in the second half because he wants the thought of doubt to creep back into Rhode Island's head. Nice crossover by E.C. Matthews. Draws the foul and continuation.
They're mixing it up. We've seen 2 jumpers from the outside. Watch for the reaches. Right there. I think they got number 5. Robinson with the reach. And a good finish, though.
Well, that's his second personal foul. And now E.C. Matthews, who has dealt with so many injuries during his career. Many people thought he would leave after his junior year to go to the NBA. And now he's a graduate student. And he converts the three-point play to make it a 2-point game.
Phil Martelli wanted to get to this point so his kids would believe that they could. I think Rhode Island believes that they can right now, too. So it'll be interesting to match the mind game.
St. Joseph's largest lead was 11. Rhode Island has never led in this game. Shot clock under 10. Newkirk going to the basket, slips it to Demery. That's a tough shot without the backboard.
Yeah, sure was. He had to put it up over to the right side to avoid a block.
Three-pointer by Garrett. He gives it up, dribbles to the baseline.
Well, they're keeping the ball moving, aren't they?
And Terrell, baseline jumper is no good.
I think you take the air out of it, one possession. Newkirk can start to play again, Tom, because now with the 3 fouls under 8 minutes, he can go hard again. Not that he wasn't going hard, but he can go. He can be a little bit more aggressive is the right word.
That's a good point. Even defensively, be more aggressive.
And he's going to touch it enough.
10 on the shot clock. Newkirk caught. Oliva. 5 on the shot clock. Oliva to the basket. He's fouled going to the rim.
Beautiful hesitation by Oliva just then.
7:08 to play here in the second half. Batman named number 0 showing up right now.
There you go.
You're watching Bracket Week presented by Kubota. Oh, we take a look at our game summary. It's gotten narrow. St. Joseph's had an 11-point lead. It's down to 2, shooting 55% from the floor. All we know is that the last 7:08 is going to be rather entertaining to see who goes to the championship.
It's going to be a lot of fun, I think, from both coaches in terms of how they maneuver. The chess match will start. But you know what? It's interesting to me right now, it's the mental framework, and I'm going to give a little bit of an edge to Rhode Island right now. We'll see how that develops over the next 2 minutes or so. That may change by 5 minutes, but right now I'm giving Rhode Island a little bit of an edge in terms of their confidence.
The other thing, too, about Rhode Island, they were tested yesterday against VCU, and that may help carry over knowing that they can finish. I mean, this is a team that is led by Jared Terrell and E.C. Matthews. Those 2 guys have won a lot of games during their years. This guy has played very well, Andre Berry. So Matthews, who's picked it up recently on the floor. Oliva will go to the free throw line.
49% free throw shooter at the line.
which Phil Bartoli, when we were talking to him today, he says he finds it kind of odd that he struggles so much from the free throw line.
Well, he moves away a little bit. Yesterday he shot an air ball, so it means that there's a little bit of lack of confidence. But you want to stay if you're struggling, you want your shoulders to roll towards the basket. And that was better. I mean, that tells me that just that one shot tells me he should be a 70% free throw shooter.
Absolutely.
But it's probably his mind working a little bit against him.
7 minutes to play in the second half. The winner faces the winner of St. Bonaventure and Davidson. That's coming up next.
Little shift here. Newkirk on the right side. Little taller lineup on the left.
Fats Russell for three. Short. Rebound is tipped. Russell gets it back. Now he goes right to the rim. Throws it up, and it's good.
Tom, I couldn't tell who got his hand on the basketball just then, but it wasn't a lot. It was just a little bit of a guide to push it back out. And it's very difficult to find and regroup defensively to find the shooters.
Again, Rhode Island has never led in this ball game. Newkirk lost control. Russell with some quick hands.
Boy, is he ever quick is right.
Here's Doughton. Langevin. Count the bucket. Rhode Island takes the lead. Well, they certainly have traveled well down to D.C.
They sure did.
And now Langevin has had two big buckets, I think, in this second half. Will go to the free throw line.
And their defense making it happen just then. St. Joseph's with only 7 turnovers, but when their point guard turns it over when he's trying to drive, it's off to the races down the other end.
Langevin 52% from the line. 2-point lead. It's an 11-3 run for the Rams.
Russell's going to make him work now once he gets over half court.
You see Matthews set up Fats Russell. He said he's a nag. He's like a gnat.
Look at him. He just understands when to go and look.
Newkirk may have got away with a travel. Look at this. How about that one? High off the top of the backboard. That would win any game of horse.
Woo. You may go from H to O to R very quickly on that one in this game. Here's the H. He goes by him. He gets bumped as the O. And there's the R and a little spin coming down. Wow. And talk about a huge bucket. By the way, that came close to the top of the backcourt, which by rule is in play anyway.
Inches of going over the backboard.
Exactly.
4 fouls on Langevin. He'll check out. Newkirk to the free throw line. Another N1 opportunity for him.
78% free throw shooter.
And he misses again.
Wow.
That's 3 N1s that he's missed here today. Tied up at 73.
Setting the high screens against the front guys in the zone.
Russell for 3. It's good.
And Russell came into this game under 30% at 28% from the three-point stripe, but he is getting really, really good looks over there on the left side of the floor.
He has 9. The lead is 3. Demery underneath, separation, and lays it in.
Good patience, too, by Demery. He set himself up with a nice little baseline cut on the baseline and gathered it all in, waiting for defenders to go by.
And a foul on Robinson. Oh, no, they're going to wave it up, a foul on the floor. I thought he was in the act of shooting 3. And Newkirk is limping again.
Yeah, you hate to see that.
It's the same ankle. Oh, he was pulling toward the foot. Mark Bass, the assistant coach for St. Joseph, is cleaning the floor with him.
I guess. There you go. Help him up.
He injured his ankle earlier on a drive to the basket. Yeah, right there.
Yep.
So now Doughton, front end of the 1-and-1. Misses. That's a huge call that they didn't say he was in the act of shooting 3.
Sure was when you think about it, because Doughton, 72% free throw shooter, gets a couple of free looks. Here we go. You got to reload if you're St. Joseph's now.
Without Newkirk, who's on the bench. Oliva.
Nice cut.
Looking for Funk. Terrell does a nice job cutting Demery off. Shot clock is under 10. Robinson, shot clock at 5. Robinson gets everybody off their feet, but he's going to be called for a travel.
And they're going to have Oliva handle the basketball a little bit out there. He's a good passer. Let's see if he takes an extra step. Yeah, I think he did.
I think he did too.
Yep, I think he did. Official from the left side of the floor made that call. Best perspective in terms of looking at it.
Russell again for 3, and good! Best player on the floor anytime Danny Hurley recruited him. And a timeout call by St. Joseph's. "12 3-pointers for Rhode Island. Fats Russell is coming to life.
Dana Jacobson in the New York studio. We're checking in on the MEAC championship game. And can you say upset NC Central right now? The 71-62 lead, about to snatch that game from Hampton.
All right, Dana, thank you very much. Here, Rhode Island's on top 79-75 with 4:18 to play. Here in the second half, the winner of the 8-10 gets the automatic bid, although Rhode Island's going to get in. But here are the automatic bids already. Boy, that's a great puzzle to see put together.
Well,
huh?
That's fabulous right there.
NC Central.
That's the easiest part of the bracket, too.
That's exactly right. Allie, what do you have?
Well, Newkirk just subbed himself back into the game. He had his shoe off. It was definitely the big toe on his right foot. He would squeeze on it and just make a grimacing face, almost like he was trying not to scream. So he's in a lot of pain. When he put the shoe back on, Coach said, "Can you go?" And he sort of looked at him and go, "I don't know." He said, "Let's give it a shot, at least for a minute or two."
Well, at least he's trying.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Tom and Allie. What happens is when you get into the heat of the moment, then all of a sudden you hope that it's not as painful once you start playing again. We'll see how he reacts.
Rhode Island up by 4. Robinson with the basketball. Fats Russell's all over Newkirk.
That may be his biggest problem right now.
Robinson hands it to Funk, and an illegal screen.
Yep, that's a good call. Robinson's pushed the shoulders out. It's kind of one of those handoff plays. And watch for number 5 in red. Here he comes. Watch his left shoulder and right shoulder, excuse me. Pushes it right around.
Point of emphasis this year, all year long, are the screens up away from the basket. Back-to-back turnovers now for St. Joseph's. Well, obviously the Hawks need to stop.
And a little slip to Berry. He's open occasionally down there, so we got to look from.
You see Matthews to the basket, off the glass, no good. Berry with the rebound. Forced his shot, no good. Russell with the rebound. How about this? Here's Terrell for 3. Got it!
So hard to react to the perimeter when there's a loose ball kicking like that. Look at the grimace on Newkirk's face as he comes up the floor, too.
It's a 7-point lead. Rhode Island was down by 11. Funk for 3. It's no good. Oliva's putback is good.
That's the Funk. They want Funk shooting that shot, though. Long-range shooter. 39% from the three-point stripe, so it's a soft shot, one that's easier to rebound, too. We'll try to keep Newkirk busy up front. He's hobbled. He's really hobbled.
Terrell again for 3. This one too hard, but the rebound by Doughton.
Yes. Did you see Newkirk just then, Tom? He couldn't explode to the ball.
It's almost as if he was locked right on the floor.
Yeah, I hate to take advantage, but I'd bring that ball over here because this is Newkirk on that side. Force him to defend or go at him. Here they come. They're coming towards his side at least.
Rhode Island with 18 offensive rebounds in this game. Russell, he wants that 3. Ooh. And he can't get it to go.
That was a good-looking stroke.
Sure was.
Confident, too. Man, he's only a freshman.
I told somebody a couple weeks ago that he reminds me of Greg Grant, the former NBAer out of Trenton State College. Same size.
At the College of New Jersey.
That's right, College of New Jersey. Funks for three, and no good. Loose ball, saved by Newkirk. It's loose again. Robinson wants a timeout.
Yep, good call, Tom. How about Newkirk getting that ball in bounds to Robinson?
Well, that could be a game-saving possession right there for St. Joseph's.
So I thought that with the spin, that ball was going to kick back towards the backboard. Saves it, and nice smarts. Good reaction, too, by the officials to see that call.
82-77. Time for the cut above the rest. Brought to you by Steel. Look at E.C. Matthews.
Stepping it up. This is one of the things that Rhode Island did collectively, just making pretty good plays. That was an out of bounds underneath their basket. And here's the crossover. So you see the long range shot and out of bounds and a crisscross with the dribble.
He has 14 points. E.C. Matthews does. He only had one field goal in the first half and 3 points overall. He's actually going to take a breather. So it's Russell, Doughton, Robinson, Berry, and Terrell. As you see the game reset.
Yeah, and the other side of the floor, too. Danny Hurley's matching up, but Phil Martelli took out Newkirk also. Because he sees him struggling out there just like we do.
Yeah, he's putting his warm-up on. Here's Funk off the inbounds for three. He falls to the floor. Clover gets the rebound.
I think you just got to continue to attack as much as you can.
Oliva to Funk, and now a foul called against Terrell.
And the problem was you go with Oliva to the line. That's the only downside. He makes a lot of good solid plays. And now he has to step up and make a few.
That's Russell check out. You don't think he's helped Rhode Island this year?
Well, I'll tell you, he's helped them this afternoon, that's for sure. With his 12 points. He stays on the line. He looks okay to me.
Sure does. Well, he's made his last two.
Same motion every time it has to be, Tom. How's he a 49% free throw?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Maybe something will trigger now.
Yes, exactly.
It's a one-possession game.
And now without Newkirk, not to knock him, but there's not a deficiency out there defensively with somebody who's playing with a half an injury.
Shot clock at 10. Doughton. Fadeaway jumper is good. Rattles it home. Playing right in his backyard.
And remember, he had 18 points yesterday, and he made some big shots just like that one. Get something going to the glass.
Well, he's got a double-double going, 13 points, 10 rebounds, but now commits the foul. And that will send Nick Robinson to the free throw line. Or I should say Clover to the free throw line, excuse me.
Clover at 59%. He's got to do the same thing. And make your free throws if you want a chance to win this game. And Danny Hurley, look, he knows the stats. 59% free throw shoot. He's telling his two guys inside to block out. And also the two guys out front have to block out too. Just in case you get a shot off the front rim.
Both free throws are good for Clover. And here comes E.C. Matthews back in. I don't think it's surprising that there are this many points being scored in this game, because both of these teams do try to move the basketball. It's more than their average. It is a timeout is called by Dan Hurley. 1:07 to play. Rhode Island on top 84-81. Phil Martelli was really concerned about three-point shooting, and Rhode Island's heated up in the second half.
Remember about the 12-minute mark left in this game, they started to build a confidence, and they started to walk onto the floor better, and they were passing it better from left to right, and it became contagious. The good shooting, everybody got involved, so it was a balanced attack. And you have to go back to Russell, what he did. I thought he's given them the biggest lift with 3 of his shots in this second half.
He has 12 points off the bench for Rhode Island. Garrett's three-pointer was huge. There's Fats Russell, given the nickname when he was a baby because his mom thought he was a little chubby, which most babies are.
He looks chubby to me. That's what he looks like. He's in the greatest. Lean, strong, fast.
Winner of this one will face the winner of St. Bonaventure and Davidson. That's coming up in just a little bit here on CBS Sports Network. Tomorrow on CBS at 1 o'clock with Ian, Jim, and Allie. Downton will inbound, shot clock at 26.
A lot of times they like to get a weave going against the man-to-man and put Terrell in the position to come around and go to the basket. He's on the right side of the floor now. And here he comes. Let's see if he tries to go to the basket.
Yeah, off the high screen, they go to Matthews. Shot clock under 10. Matthews, tough shot, no angle, loose ball, picked up by Rhode Island. Another offensive board, that's 19.
Yeah, tough decision now whether you foul or not, because they're going to take this clock down. You're right in no man's land, and Phil Martelli's telling him to back off. You could make the argument, you go after him and foul in that situation. Comes down to a stop for St. Joseph's. That's a little high screen here.
Shot clock at 7, step back 3, down. It's good!
Oh, he was money yesterday, as I mentioned. That was a huge, huge shot. They have to go very quickly right now.
Without Newkirk on the floor, Oliva for 3. His answer is good. And now a timeout call by St. Joseph's with 10.3 to play. Well, how about the guts by Downton?
Yes. I mean, that's big time. A sophomore, a little push in, little step back. Boy, that was beautifully done. Just to basically give yourself the separation against Clova, and then all would come down the other side. And St. Joseph's has to go quickly, and they do. And Oliva keeps them breathing.
A reminder coming up next, it's Inside College Basketball Bracket Week presented by Kubota. If you're St. Joseph's, you got 10.3 to play. You're down by 3. I mean, obviously, right up in the grill of Rhode Island and a foul quickly.
Yeah, and you look at the 9 fouls, you know, with St. Joe's rather with the 8. You know, go after it. Put them in a situation where you get the ball going towards the corners if you can. Take 2 seconds max to try for a quick steal. And you don't, if you can, flip your arms up, not down, because that's a good way to kind of not get the call initially on the first swipe, but the second one you come down and do whatever you have to do. So go to the corners. If you're St. Joseph's, try to make that happen. Initially, they want to get a quick foul there. They want to be seeing Rhode Island shoot the basketball with about 8 seconds down the other end and hope for a miss.
Well, Rhode Island is inserted Jarvis Garrett, who is a 70% free throw shooter. They brought Fats Russell back in. He's 82%. They have Downton inbounding. Now, don't forget, yesterday at one point, they were 3 of 11 from the free throw line.
Yeah, and they have their quick lineup in there, too.
Meanwhile, the Hawks have put Lorenzo Edwards, number 22, back in. He has fouls to give, obviously.
And they all moved before the ball even came in bounds. So he can run the floor, the baseline now. Here he goes.
And Downton gets it into Russell.
Now you just, that's all you can do.
9 seconds to play. Edwards called for the foul. Well, back on February 27th, St. Joseph's on senior night for Rhode Island beat them handedly. Danny Hurley said it was his fault. He said he just mishandled the last few games of the season.
Remember, this is a 1-and-1 here, too. Not in the double bonus. Where you also have an 82% free throw shooter, which is a positive. You have a freshman.
Just a freshman, yep.
Which might not be a positive.
Double figures in 5 of his last 9. And he makes the first one. So now it's a 2-possession game, which is huge.
And he's as smooth as silk when it comes to shooting the basketball. Whether it's the 3-point shot, a pull-up jumper we saw from about the top of the key, and now with his free throws.
St. Joseph's was up by 11 at one point in the second half. Russell makes both free throws. 9 seconds to play. Little pressure to slow him down.
Yep.
Robinson's got to hurry. He lets it go. It's good. 89-87, 3.2 to play. And Robinson fouls Terrell.
Yeah, didn't have a choice. He just goes. Whatever that ball comes in. And so here's that pull-up jump shot. Nice, smart play by the defender Russell to stay away from the shooter, but Robinson comes right down and nails it.
Well, he's fouled out now with 16 points. And again, they don't have Shavar Newkirk because of his apparent injury. Now, Newkirk is up off the bench. Longpre is with the red beard. He hasn't played much late in the second half, but he has the ability to hit a three-pointer as well.
And right now, no timeouts for St. Joseph's.
Yeah, one timeout left for Rhode Island. There's Newkirk still limping. He tried to give it a go.
So this is 2 shots with an 83% free throw shooter at the line.
Yeah, a senior. He is Batman number 2. Went to the Adidas summer camp this past off-season, the national global event, as a counselor, and they say that took his game to the next level. Get to work out with some NBA players, and he misses.
So
How about that?
Tom, if you're thinking ahead right now, if they make this shot, watch for a quick baseball pass down the floor. If you can get somebody moving towards the basket, maybe if you get your guards catching it on the run, they get 2 dribbles once they get the catch.
Terrell makes the second one, so here we go. 2.2 to play.
And no timeouts.
Danny Hurley's waving everybody through. Oliva, he's under the basket. He's got to get out from there. Throws it up to Funk. Funk lets it fly, and a traveling violation with 0.5 to play, and Rhode Island will take over as they begin to celebrate.
Yeah, the difficulty of that pass inbounds was the receiver had to catch it coming towards and away from his basket. See how he's turned? He's coming this way in this direction. You got to turn. There's just not enough time, and it's a difficult catch.
The inbounds goes to Downton, and that's it. The number 1 seed will move on to the Atlantic 10 championship game as Dan Hurley's squad will play for the A10 title, the conference title, for a second consecutive year. 90-87, the final score. Well, we continue to have chalk here in the Atlantic 10. We've had some great games. Rhode Island advances to the championship. 1 o'clock tomorrow on CBS. They'll take on the winner of St. Bonaventure and Davidson. The Bonnies and Davidson are coming up in just a little bit. For a handful of the seniors for St. Joseph's, this is their final game, most likely. But they went out with a valiant effort. Shavar Newkirk, injured for a lot of the last part of the second half, was a big boost for the St. Joseph's Hawks. But Rhode Island is so deep, and that depth helped lead them to the victory here this afternoon. Let's go to Adley LaForce with Dan Hurley.
Coach, having some fun with the fans out there. You didn't leave in this game until 6 minutes left to play, but you led when it mattered most. What did they show you down the stretch?
Well, I mean, didn't look like this in our first Atlantic 10 tournament in Brooklyn, but it's amazing how this thing has grown. Showed the resilience and the greatness that we've showed the whole year. We've had an amazing season minus a game in 40 seconds.
At halftime, you said St. Joseph needs to make less shots. Well, they didn't go away on offense, but your offense really stepped up. How impressed were you with their performance?
I mean, Coach Martelli was the A10 Coach of the Year. He did an amazing job with his team this year. They just kept making shots, and you know, we showed our resolve and who we are.
What would Dad say to you after this one?
I don't think Dad has a whole lot to say. His nerves are probably shot right now. I just took a peek at him, and I think he went in the tunnel for a cigarette.
Thank you, Coach. Enjoy it.
All right, Allie, thank you very much. Dad got a chance to enjoy it. For Jim Spanarkel, Adley LaForce, and our entire CBS crew, I'm Tom McCarthy. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Rhode Island will advance. Let's now send you over to Dana, Swin, John, and Jerry in our New York studio for Inside College Basketball Bracket Week, presented by Kubota. Hopefully Game 2 is as good as Game number 1. Dana, take it away.